history, bearing the weight of our ancestors' struggles and triumphs. Our existence is a testament to resilience, strength, and unwavering spirit. From the fields of slavery to the streets of our cities, from the heart of the civil rights movement to today's battles for justice, we have faced countless obstacles, but we continue to rise, to persevere, and to push forward. We are a community woven together by a shared history, yet beautifully diverse in our experiences and aspirations. From the artistic brilliance of our creators to the intellectual genius in our scholars, from the courage of our activists to the quiet strength of our everyday lives, we reflect the fullness of humanity itself. We have been told at times that we are less than, that we should not expect greatness, or that we should be content with the crumbs left behind by a system that has long sought to divide and suppress. But we know better. We know that we are powerful beyond measure. We know that our greatness is not confined to any box or stereotype. Our value is immeasurable, our potential limitless. Our history is rich with stories of innovation, leadership, and transformation. We are the architects of culture, the drivers of change, and the bearers of hope. And in our future, we will continue to lead, to inspire, and to uplift not only ourselves, but all of humanity. But we also know the fight is far from over. While we have made significant progress, the battle for equality, for justice, and for respect is ongoing. We cannot afford to become complacent. We must continue to speak truth to power, demand accountability, and protect the rights of all people, especially the most vulnerable among us. To every Black person in America, know this: you are seen, you are valued, and you are loved. Your voice matters, your life matters, your dreams matter. As we continue to break down barriers and shatter ceilings, we must remember that our collective strength is our greatest weapon. We are not alone. We are a community bound by purpose, by history, and by the shared understanding that together we are unstoppable. The work ahead is daunting, but it is not impossible. Each day is an opportunity to create change, to impact the lives of those around us, and to build a future that reflects our true worth. Let us stand united in our purpose. Let us hold one another up in love, and let us continue to write the story of our people with pride, dignity, and unbreakable determination. In this journey, let us remember that while the road may be long, the spirit of Black America is a force that cannot be denied. We will continue to rise. We will continue to fight, and we will continue to thrive. Our history as Black Americans is woven with the threads of both suffering and triumph. It is a legacy of resilience that stretches back to the days of forced labor, through the brutalities of slavery, and into the struggles for freedom and equality. These moments are more than just markers of pain. They are testaments to our unwavering strength, to the tenacity of a people who, against all odds, have not only survived but thrived. We have endured hardship that is almost impossible to fully grasp. But it is precisely because of that history that we possess a profound sense of resilience, a strength that has shaped who we are as individuals and as a collective community. From the very first ships that carried our ancestors across the Atlantic, Black Americans were thrust into an environment of unimaginable cruelty. The legacy of slavery is not just a painful chapter in history, it is a foundational part of who we are. Despite the systematic dehumanization, our ancestors found ways to resist, to fight, and to hold on to their dignity. Through spirituals, cultural preservation, and subtle acts of defiance, they created a resistance that would resonate through generations. Though they were forced into bondage, they did not allow it to break their spirit. As the years rolled on, the fight for freedom didn't end with emancipation. The period of Reconstruction brought hope, but also set the stage for violent resistance in the form of segregation, sharecropping, and the rise of the Ku Klux Klan. The legal and institutional systems that had long supported slavery didn't simply vanish with the stroke of a pen. Instead, they adapted, finding new ways to suppress, disenfranchise, and control. Yet through all of this, Black Americans pushed forward. They carved out spaces for themselves in education, politics, and culture. They started businesses, built communities, and maintained a sense of pride and identity, even in the face of brutal oppression. The civil rights movement of the 1950 and 1960 was one of the most significant chapters in this long legacy of resilience. Leaders like Martin Luther King Jr., Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, and countless others stood up against segregation, voter suppression, and racial violence. The stories of those who marched, who sat at lunch counters, who endured bombings, beatings, and imprisonment are not just stories of protest. They are stories of courage. They remind us that the road to justice is not easy, but it is always worth walking. The movement's success didn't come overnight, but through the strength and sacrifices of millions of individuals who believed in a vision of equality that was larger than any single person's life. But the battle did not end with the passage of the Civil Rights Act or the Voting Rights Act. We have learned that change is never linear and that systemic oppression is a force that reinvents itself. While we celebrated monumental legal victories, the fight continued on the streets, in the courts, and in the halls of power. Today, we still face racial discrimination in all areas of life, in education, housing, the criminal justice system, and healthcare. Yet, despite these challenges, the resilience that has always been the hallmark of Black America continues to fuel our collective struggle. Through each setback and each new wave of adversity, our strength has only grown. In the face of police brutality, economic disparities, and social inequality, we rise again. The Black Lives Matter movement, which began as a response to the senseless killings of Black people, is a modern expression of the resilience that runs deep in our veins. It is a call to action that echoes the same spirit of defiance and determination that our ancestors exhibited centuries ago. The movement's success in raising awareness and sparking global conversation about race and injustice is just the latest chapter in a long story of resistance. It is important to recognize that our resilience is not just about overcoming external forces. It is also about cultivating strength within. The Black community has a unique capacity to come together in times of crisis. We lift one another up, whether it's through the church, family gatherings, or local grassroots organizations. We celebrate our culture with pride, and we have created art, music, literature, and fashion that has not only defined Black life, but shaped global culture. This creative expression, born out of struggle, has served as a source of healing and empowerment, not just for us, but for the world. In the face of systemic adversity, we also create spaces of joy. We know that survival is not just about enduring hardship, but about finding moments of light. Our resilience is not just about surviving, it's about thriving, about celebrating life, and about demanding the dignity that is rightfully ours. We find power in our voices, in our culture, and in the generations that follow us. The history of Black America is a story of strength that can never be erased. From the brutality of slavery to the challenges of today, we have consistently overcome obstacles that sought to crush our spirit. Our legacy is one of courage, perseverance, and unwavering hope. It is the legacy of a people who have not only endured the worst of what humanity can inflict, but who have also brought forth some of the best, creating a culture, a spirit, and a strength that will continue to shape the world for generations to come. There is a unique power that comes with the diversity within the Black community. While the experiences of Black people are shaped by individual histories, geographies, and identities, they are undeniably linked by a shared legacy of struggle, resilience, and triumph. This common history unites us in ways that transcend differences, whether we are artists, scholars, activists, entrepreneurs, or simply living our lives in communities across this country. We each contribute to the collective story of Black America. The richness of this tapestry lies in the various threads that come together to form a vibrant and dynamic whole, each essential and invaluable in its own right. It is this unity, grounded in diversity, that makes us stronger, more innovative, and more capable of facing the challenges that come our way. Our diversity is perhaps one of the most defining features of the Black community. Blackness is not a monolith. Our experiences differ widely depending on factors such as where we were born, the social and economic status of our families, our religious practices, our cultural backgrounds, and even the different countries from which our ancestors hailed. Black people in the U.S. come from various countries in Africa, the Caribbean, Latin America, and other parts of the world. There are deep differences in language, traditions, and customs. We also have various gender identities, sexual orientations, and experiences that shape who we are. Our perspectives are shaped by these differences, and they should be celebrated, not reduced to stereotypes or assumptions. But despite these differences, there is a shared connection that binds us together, a shared history of oppression, but also a shared drive for liberation, justice, and self-determination. The struggle for freedom and equality has united us across generations and continues to be a source of collective purpose. Whether we are marching for civil rights, creating art that speaks to our lived experiences, or advocating for policies that uplift our communities, our shared goal of achieving a better, more just world unites us in ways that transcend individual experiences. The beauty of our unity lies in the way we each play a role in the broader movement toward change. Each individual within the Black community contributes to the culture and progress in ways that are sometimes subtle but always significant. The artist who creates a song that moves millions, the scholar who contributes to our understanding of history and the social forces that have shaped our lives, the activist who advocates for policy reform, and the parent who raises the next generation of leaders. Each of us has a role to play. In this sense, every person is part of a larger narrative, contributing to the shaping of Black culture and society. For instance, the power of Black music, from gospel and blues to jazz, hip-hop, and R&B, has shaped not only Black identity, but also global culture. The rhythms, the lyrics, the voices that have come together to tell stories of struggle, joy, pain, and triumph have resonated with people from all walks of life, across continents and generations. The same can be said for literature, theater, fashion, and all forms of creative expression. These contributions are powerful because they bring together diverse experiences under one umbrella of Blackness, telling stories that are shared but also uniquely personal. Through these forms of expression, we are able to communicate the complexities of our existence, reaching others who may never have lived our experiences, but who can empathize with our struggles and celebrate our successes. At the same time, Black scholars and intellectuals have been pivotal in shaping the discourse around race, identity, and social justice. From W.E.B. Du Bois to Toni Morrison, Angela Davis to Kimberly Crenshaw, Black thinkers have provided frameworks for understanding the structures of power and inequality that persist today. These scholars contribute to the strength of the Black community by offering tools for resistance and strategies for empowerment. Their work is not just academic. It is part of a larger effort to build a foundation for the future of Black people in America and beyond. And then there are the everyday heroes, those individuals whose names may never be etched in history books, but whose work is no less significant. These are the community organizers, teachers, healthcare workers, and business owners who quietly serve their neighborhoods, build local economies, and nurture the future. They may not be in the spotlight, but their contributions are just as vital to the survival and flourishing of the Black community. Our unity lies in recognizing that all these different paths, all these different contributions are valid and vital to the fabric of Black life. We are stronger together because we bring together so many different skills, experiences, and perspectives. There is no one way to be Black and no one role to play in the movement for justice. The diversity of Black voices, experiences, and talents is an undeniable source of power. It is this diversity that allows us to adapt to changing circumstances, to draw on a range of ideas and resources, and to build a future that reflects the multifaceted nature of our identity. But unity does not mean uniformity. It means that we acknowledge our differences, respect them, and understand that we are all part of a collective struggle. Our diverse experiences give us the ability to empathize with one another. even if our journeys are not the same. We learn from one another, share knowledge and wisdom, and use our collective strength to challenge the injustices that still plague our community. In the face of adversity, we are strongest when we come together, when we embrace each other's differences and build on our common ground. This unity does not diminish our individuality. Instead, it amplifies our power. It ensures that no matter where we come from or what our experiences have been, we are all contributing to a larger vision of liberation and justice. The beauty of Black culture lies in its diversity. Through unity, we find strength. Through diversity, we find beauty. Together, we are unstoppable. Throughout history, Black people have often been defined by the limitations and narrow views that society has imposed upon us. From being seen as mere laborers in the fields to being depicted as criminals, uneducated, or incapable of intellectual achievement, the stereotypes surrounding Black people have been consistently harmful, limiting, and inaccurate. Yet, despite these persistent portrayals, we have continually refused to accept these definitions because we know we are more than what others attempt to reduce us to. We know that our worth, our intelligence, our capabilities, and our potential extend far beyond the boundaries set by others. For far too long, society has tried to confine us to predetermined roles, labeling us in ways that seek to maintain control and suppress the richness of who we are. These labels are born from centuries of racism, colonization, and oppression, which have systematically dehumanized Black people to justify exploitation and inequality. These stereotypes portray us as lesser, as violent, or as incapable of achieving greatness without the help of others. But these portrayals are not only inaccurate, they are also damaging. They restrict opportunities, limit potential, and deny the complexities and diversity of the Black experience. We are not just one thing, we are many things, and we are capable of far more than these labels would have the world believe. The truth is that our worth is not confined to these narrow definitions. We are powerful in ways that are both seen and unseen. Our strength comes not only from the obvious acts of resistance we've shown in the face of adversity, but also from the quiet, everyday perseverance we display as we navigate systems designed to limit our success. Our power is seen in the creative brilliance of Black musicians, artists, writers, and performers who have reshaped the world's culture. It is in the innovative breakthroughs of Black scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs who have pushed boundaries and contributed to the advancement of society. Our power is reflected in the educators, activists, and community leaders who tirelessly fight for justice and equity, even when the odds are stacked against them. Despite these achievements, there are still those who attempt to define us through outdated and harmful stereotypes. We are often portrayed as hypersexualized, as naturally athletic, or as perpetual victims of crime and poverty. These stereotypes persist not because they are true, but because they serve to keep us in a box, one that limits our potential and perpetuates a cycle of injustice. The media, schools, and even some institutions play a role in reinforcing these stereotypes, often showing Black people as either perpetrators or victims of violence, never as fully realized human beings with complex identities, dreams, and aspirations. But we refuse to be defined by these labels. Black people have consistently defied the expectations that society has set for us. We have excelled in every field, from medicine to law, from business to politics, from sports to academia. Our contributions to every sector of society demonstrate that the limitations imposed on us are not a reflection of our abilities, but of society's refusal to see us for who we truly are. Whether it's Black astronauts, doctors, educators, artists, engineers, or activists, we have proven time and again that we are capable of greatness in every field. The narratives society tries to push on us are outdated, and the walls that have been built to contain our potential are steadily being torn down. Our ability to rise above these stereotypes lies in our refusal to accept them as truths. We are not confined to the box that others have created for us. We are not restricted by the narrow parameters of societal expectations. In fact, it is our refusal to be limited that has allowed us to achieve so much. We challenge the idea that blackness is synonymous with a lack of opportunity, intelligence, or ambition. We fight against the idea that our potential is defined by the color of our skin, the neighborhood we grew up in, or the economic background we come from. We reject the notion that our lives are less valuable, our voices less important, or our dreams less achievable. Breaking these boundaries requires not just individual action, but collective resistance. Each time we push against the stereotypes and norms that have been set for us, we open doors for others to follow. Our achievements are not just personal victories, they are the dismantling of the limiting narratives that seek to confine us. We must continue to create spaces where our voices, experiences, and aspirations are not only heard, but valued. We must continue to show the world the vastness of our potential, and in doing so, we inspire others to do the same. At the heart of this struggle is the unwavering belief in the limitless potential of Black people. The path we take is not one of conformity, but of defiance against the stereotypes that seek to define us. Our identities are complex, multifaceted, and ever-evolving. To reduce us to a single story or a limited expectation is to deny our full humanity. We are individuals with unique talents, dreams, and capabilities, and we deserve to be seen for the full breadth of who we are. As we continue to refuse to be defined by the stereotypes that society imposes upon us, we not only reclaim our power, but also reshape the world around us. We prove that we are not limited by the expectations others place on us, and that our potential is boundless. Our stories are not defined by the narratives society tries to force upon us. Instead, we create our own stories. Stories of brilliance, of success, of joy, of struggle, and of victory. In every field, we continue to break down the boundaries that others have set for us, showing the world that Black people are powerful, talented, and capable of greatness. We are not defined by anyone but ourselves, and our potential is limitless. Let us continue to break these boundaries, to challenge these stereotypes, and to show the world the full extent of our humanity. The future is ours to shape, and we will do so on our own terms. The journey toward justice and equality has been long, filled with both monumental achievements and painful setbacks. While we have made significant progress over the past century, through the civil rights movement, legal reforms, and the tireless work of countless advocates, there is no question that the battle for true equality is far from over. The fight for justice is ongoing, and it is a struggle that demands the participation of all of us. We cannot afford to become complacent, nor can we allow the victories of the past to obscure the work that remains ahead. Each of us has a role to play in continuing this fight, and it is only through our collective efforts that we can push toward a future where true equality is realized for all. Progress has been made in some areas, but it is crucial that we understand how far we still have to go. Legal victories, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, were pivotal milestones in the fight for equality. But they were only the beginning. They dismantled some of the most overt systems of segregation and discrimination, but the underlying structures of inequality that have existed for centuries are still deeply embedded in society. These systems have adapted and morphed over time, often becoming more covert and insidious, but their effects are still felt by Black people and other marginalized communities every day. Racial inequality in housing, education, healthcare, and criminal justice continues to persist, and it is these systems that we must hold accountable. The criminal justice system, for example, continues to disproportionately impact Black communities. Mass incarceration, racial profiling, police brutality, and the school-to-prison pipeline are all symptoms of a system that continues to perpetuate racial inequality. Despite widespread outrage over high-profile cases of police violence, such as the deaths of Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Breonna Taylor, and George Floyd, we have seen very little meaningful change at the policy level. The justice system often fails to deliver accountability, and the legacy of racial injustice continues to haunt Black people across the nation. This is why we cannot stop demanding justice. We must keep pushing for reforms in law enforcement, the courts, and the entire justice system to ensure that it serves all people equally, regardless of race. The fight for equality is not limited to the justice system. In the realm of education, Black children continue to attend schools that are underfunded and overcrowded, while their white counterparts often have access to better resources and opportunities. The achievement gap between Black students and white students is well documented, and yet the systemic issues that perpetuate this inequality are often ignored or minimized. It is not enough to simply pass laws. We must actively dismantle the structures that keep educational opportunities out of reach for so many in our community. This requires investing in schools, ensuring equitable access to higher education, and addressing the cultural biases that often hinder Black students' success. Similarly, in the realm of healthcare, the disparities between Black and white Americans are stark. From higher rates of maternal mortality among Black women to the disproportionately high incidence of chronic diseases like hypertension and diabetes, Black people continue to face systemic barriers to quality health care. These disparities are the result of a long history of neglect, discrimination, and unequal access to medical care. The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted these inequities, with Black communities experiencing higher infection and death rates than other racial groups. Addressing these health disparities requires more than just access to health care. It requires a complete overhaul of the systems that have perpetuated inequality in medical treatment, research, and public health initiatives. In order to achieve true equality, we must also tackle economic disparities. While the wealth gap between Black and white Americans has narrowed somewhat over the past few decades, it remains staggering. Black families still have a fraction of the wealth that white families do, and Black workers are more likely to face unemployment, underemployment, and wage stagnation. The history of discriminatory practices such as redlining, wage theft, and the exclusion of Black workers from certain industries has left deep scars on Black economic mobility. We must fight for policies that address these disparities, such as reparations, affordable housing, job training programs, and fair wages, in order to build a more equitable economic landscape. One of the most important aspects of the fight for justice is the need for truth-telling and accountability. It is not enough to simply acknowledge the existence of racial inequality. We must confront the uncomfortable truths of our history and actively work to repair the harm that has been done. This means acknowledging the legacy of slavery, segregation, and discrimination that continues to shape our society today. It means holding corporations, politicians, and institutions accountable for their role in perpetuating injustice. And it means amplifying the voices of those who have been marginalized, ensuring that their experiences are heard and understood, and that their struggles are not erased from the public consciousness. The battle for justice is not just a matter of laws and policies. It is a matter of culture and collective consciousness. It requires a fundamental shift in how we see and treat one another, and it demands that we confront our biases, both as individuals and as a society. We must unlearn harmful stereotypes, challenge prejudiced attitudes, and create spaces where all people, regardless of race, can thrive. It requires a deep commitment to empathy and solidarity, and an understanding that the struggle for justice is not a zero-sum game. When one group wins, we all win. The fight for true equality is ongoing, and each of us has a role to play. Whether we are marching in the streets, organizing in our communities, advocating for policy change, or simply listening and learning from one another, our collective efforts will shape the future. The road ahead may be long, and the obstacles may seem insurmountable, but we must remain steadfast in our commitment to justice. The battle is not over, and it will take all of us, united in purpose, passionate in our pursuit, and relentless in our drive for fairness, to achieve the world we know is possible. We cannot afford to stop, to give up, or to be complacent. The fight for justice and equality is not a choice. It is a moral imperative, and it is a fight we must continue until all people are truly free and equal. The power of community is one of the most remarkable aspects of Black life in America. For centuries, we have witnessed how the collective strength of Black people has fueled resistance, resilience, and remarkable achievements. Every individual, regardless of whether they are in the spotlight or quietly going about their daily life, plays an essential role in shaping the strength and unity of the entire community. Our progress, our successes, and our ability to overcome the immense obstacles before us are all made possible by the contributions of every single Black person. This sense of community is not just a social construct. It is a core pillar of our survival and success. Whether you are leading marches, teaching in classrooms, running businesses, or supporting your family, each person's effort adds to the collective power that has defined us as a people. One of the most important aspects of Black community strength is the understanding that we are all interconnected. No matter where we come from or what our individual circumstances may be, we share a common bond. This bond is rooted in a history of struggle, yes, but it is also anchored in a legacy of triumph. Each person, whether they're in a leadership position or not, is an integral part of this larger movement toward equality, justice, and upliftment. The significance of this interconnectedness is reflected in the way we support one another, whether it's through the church, family, community organizations, or local businesses. We have always found ways to build networks of support that extend far beyond our immediate circles. This is not just about survival, it is about thriving together. The contributions of individuals, even those that may seem small or unnoticed, are what build the foundation of our collective power. Think of the person who helps their neighbor, the teacher who inspires a student, the mother who instills pride and resilience in her children, or the artist whose work reflects the beauty and complexity of Black life. These acts may not always make headlines, but they have a profound impact. They help to build the character of our communities, laying the groundwork for future generations to succeed. Each individual action adds to the larger narrative of Black excellence, and it is through these efforts that we create a culture of success, perseverance, and mutual care. At the same time, the visible activism and leadership of Black people are equally crucial to the strength of the community. There is a long history of Black individuals leading from the front lines, advocating for justice and fighting for civil rights and social change. Figures like Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and countless others have become symbols of resistance and leadership, showing us what is possible when we stand up and speak truth to power. But while these leaders are often celebrated, it is important to remember that they did not act alone. The victories they achieved were made possible by the collective action of countless people who supported their efforts, marched with them, and made sacrifices to push forward the cause. These leaders were supported by ordinary individuals doing extraordinary things behind the scenes. Our collective strength is built on the foundation of these combined efforts, of the quiet contributions and the loud protests, the leadership and the grassroots work. As Black people, we also understand that our strength comes from the diversity of experiences and skills within the community. Every Black person brings something unique to the table. From the entrepreneurs building businesses that serve their communities, to the artists and musicians who use their craft to uplift and unify us, our diversity is not a weakness, it is one of our greatest assets. We do not need to conform to one vision or path for success. Instead, we encourage and support one another's different journeys, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, contributes to the overall progress of the community. This understanding fosters an environment where everyone has the space to grow, innovate, and make a difference. Equally important is the role of intergenerational support in building community strength. The wisdom of our elders, the energy of our youth, and the leadership of our middle generations combine to create a dynamic, evolving force. Elders offer knowledge and perspective, sharing stories of past struggles and victories, while youth bring fresh perspectives and energy to the fight for a better future. This cross-generational collaboration is vital because it ensures that the lessons of the past are not forgotten, while also embracing new ideas and solutions for the future. When we combine the strength of our past with the energy of our future, we create an unstoppable force for change and progress. One of the most inspiring aspects of Black community strength is our resilience in the face of adversity. Time and again, we have faced attempts to suppress our progress, whether through slavery, segregation, disenfranchisement, or systemic racism. And yet, we continue to rise. We have developed the capacity to persevere, to endure, and to thrive, even when faced with the most insurmountable odds. This resilience is not only a response to hardship, but also a product of the deep sense of solidarity that exists within the Black community. We know that if one of us falls, it is the responsibility of the rest of us to lift them up. Our collective strength is built on this understanding, that we are stronger together than we are apart. The concept of community and collective strength is also evident in the ways that Black people have built institutions that serve and empower us. Historically, Black communities have created their own schools, businesses, churches, and social organizations as a way of resisting the exclusion and discrimination imposed by mainstream society. These institutions have not only served as spaces for self-determination, but also as places where the Black community can come together to share resources, protect one another, and work toward collective goals. In these spaces, we cultivate leadership, solidarity, and mutual aid, all of which reinforce our collective power. In the present day, we continue to build upon this legacy of community strength. From the Black Lives Matter movement to the countless grassroots organizations working to address social and economic inequities, Black people are once again coming together to create lasting change. The collective strength of the Black community today is evident in the way we respond to crises, advocate for justice, and celebrate our culture. It is clear that our power is not just in the actions of a few individuals, but in the collective efforts of all of us. Together we are a force to be reckoned with. The power of community lies in the knowledge that each one of us is an integral part of something much larger than ourselves. Every contribution, big or small, is a vital thread in the fabric of Black strength. When we support one another, when we come together with a shared purpose, and when we recognize the value in each individual, our collective power becomes unmatched. We rise together, and in doing so, we continue to shape the world in ways that honor our past, our culture, and our shared commitment to progress. The future is ours to shape, and with every step we take, we move closer to a world where Black Americans not only survive, but thrive. For too long, we have been burdened by systems and structures designed to keep us in a state of subjugation and limitation. But the future is not set by the forces that have historically oppressed us. It is set by our vision, our resilience, and our relentless pursuit of justice, equality, and empowerment. It is up to us to continue pushing the boundaries, to break the cycles of oppression, and to ensure that future generations of Black Americans inherit a world that is fundamentally different from the one that came before. Our legacy is already rich with history. We have built empires of culture, innovation, and resistance, from the civil rights movements to the creative expressions that have shaped global culture, from the intellectual contributions of Black thinkers to the entrepreneurial endeavors that have created economic opportunities for many. But the future we envision goes beyond simply surviving or enduring in the face of adversity. It is a future where Black people are empowered to dream without limits, to succeed without hindrance, and to live without fear of discrimination or exclusion. This is the vision that drives us, and it is the future we must build together. Hope is a powerful force. It is the spark that ignites the fire of determination. For generations, we have held on to the belief that a better world is possible. We have passed down hope from one generation to the next, even in the darkest times. Our ancestors endured unimaginable hardships, yet they never lost sight of the possibility of a brighter future. They fought not only for themselves, but for us, the generations that would follow. They knew that their struggle would not be in vain, that their efforts would create a foundation for us to build upon. Today, we stand on their shoulders, and it is our responsibility to ensure that the hope they held onto is not only maintained, but strengthened. This hope must be rooted in action. It is not enough to wish for change. We must actively work toward it every single day. Building a future of opportunity requires commitment, determination, and a relentless will to break down the barriers that continue to stand in our way. These barriers are not just physical or legal, they are mental, cultural, and emotional. We must dismantle the stereotypes and biases that have been ingrained in society, reshape the narratives that define blackness in limiting terms, and challenge the systems that perpetuate inequality. Through determination, we not only fight for ourselves, but for future generations who will one day walk into a world where these barriers are no longer standing. Unity is the cornerstone of any movement for lasting change. As we look toward the future, we must recognize that our collective strength is greater than the sum of our individual efforts. It is our unity that allows us to push forward, to tackle the most daunting challenges, and to make real, tangible progress. We rise together, and when one of us succeeds, we all succeed. Our victories, whether large or small, are victories for the entire community. Each step forward is a step taken for everyone, and each triumph adds to the collective momentum that propels us toward a future of opportunity and empowerment. However, unity does not mean uniformity. It is not about everyone thinking the same way or following the same path. It is about coming together despite our differences, recognizing that our diversity is a source of strength. We have always thrived in our diversity, whether it's our cultural backgrounds, our personal beliefs, or the different ways we contribute to society. The beauty of our community lies in our ability to bring together many perspectives, ideas, and experiences in the pursuit of a shared goal. Our unity is found not in sameness, but in a common vision for the future. The future we build must be one where opportunity is not a privilege, but a right. For too long, Black Americans have faced systemic barriers that have prevented us from accessing the opportunities we deserve, whether in education, employment, healthcare, or housing. But in the future we are creating, these barriers will no longer hold us back. We must work toward a world where access to quality education is universal, where economic opportunities are equally distributed, and where everyone has the chance to succeed, regardless of their background. We must ensure that policies and systems are designed with fairness and equity in mind, so that every Black American has the tools and resources needed to reach their full potential. Empowerment is key to this future. It is not enough to simply create opportunities. We must also ensure that we have the power to shape our own destinies. Empowerment means that Black Americans have the agency to make decisions about our lives, our communities, and our futures. It means building institutions that serve our needs, supporting businesses that are Black-owned and community-centered, and ensuring that we have representation in every sector of society, from government to the arts, from academia to the corporate world. Empowerment means knowing that our voices matter, that our contributions are valued, and that we are in control of our own narratives. Breaking down barriers requires more than just policy changes. It requires a transformation of culture. We must challenge the deeply ingrained racial biases that continue to shape how Black people are seen and treated in society. This means confronting the ways in which media, education, and institutions reinforce stereotypes and perpetuate negative images of Black people. It means creating a culture that celebrates the richness of Black history and culture, that values the diversity of Black experiences, and that recognizes the unique contributions Black Americans make to society. Through cultural transformation, we not only dismantle the old systems of oppression, but also build a new foundation on which to build a just and equitable future. As we continue to move forward, we must remain determined. The road ahead may not always be easy, and there will undoubtedly be setbacks along the way. But with each challenge, we become stronger, more resolute in our mission to create a better world. Every small victory counts, and every step taken toward justice brings us closer to the world we are building. We must keep pushing forward with unwavering determination, because the future is not only within our reach, it is ours to create. The legacy we leave behind will be shaped by our actions today, by continuing to fight for justice, to break down barriers, and to uplift one another. We are ensuring that the future is brighter for our children and grandchildren. They will inherit a world where they can not only survive, but thrive. A world where they have the freedom, opportunity, and empowerment to reach their fullest potential. This is the future we are building, a future built on hope, determination, and unity. And together there is nothing we cannot achieve.